Welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream, it's live chat, live people. I'm recorded for ustream.tv and also Ustream, so YouTube, so people can watch it at their leisure. I'm in the Johanna Basford's Johanna's Christmas Festive Colour Book, and we're on the big bauble page. And this is part 2. In part 1, I did some green leaves, and I also changed the holly leaves slightly so they were all equal because I wanted the watercolour effect. So I've drawn on here a little bit. So I've paper clipped this down so I can turn it easily. And the red I made here with a warm red and a cold red, I got the cherry red, and that's the same one that I used in the Imagimorphy. Kirby Rosan's Imagimorphy. Is it Imagimorphy? Yes, I think so. On the bunny page with all those mushrooms. And I like that colour. So I did all the berries because I've added a touch of dark green. And that's just given me a shade darker than the cherries. So hopefully I'll be able to, I'm going to see if I can do it this way. So I'm going to touch, so I've got my Hydrus watercolours which have dried and I sprayed them. So the little wells are wet but the tops are dry. But that one's now wet again. So it's a little bit wetter than when we watercolour on the Bible pages and when I watercolour on a paper napkin. But I find that a damp brush, again dipped into here and then twisted onto a baby wipe, just keeps that a damp brush. And then all I need is the tiniest amount on the end, and I can touch a leaf, a petal, and stroke across and get a watercolour effect. Now I didn't have enough colour on there, so I shall leave that one, and I'll turn that way and then I'll zoom back in so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm turning this for 2 reasons. One is my thumb joints not working at all, so I'm basically just dropping that into here, and it's just resting, and I'm just gently stroking the page, which is so good when you've got bad hands. And hopefully I can zoom in a little bit here. So I want to do that one next, so I've turned the page. This is where I've got the paper clips, so I'm not squishing the book back, it's all just neat and tidy. So I want a touch of colour because I want this to be quite deep in here. Now this brush might be slightly too big. I'm not quite getting the effect I wanted really. But we'll persevere. Maybe just I think I've got the dampness right. It's just the amount of paint on the end. Again, I'm just working across. But actually, I quite like that actually. So I'm going to leave it. Sometimes you get it, and sometimes you don't. And sometimes you don't. So I'm going to work in the same method. Just teasing colour across. and you go into a little world of your own. That's quite a nice pale colour. I haven't done very bright and vibrant, which you think you would do. So now I've got this green. I want that to be slightly darker. So I can do two things. I can either add a touch of green, or I can just pick up more paint. I think I'll pick up more paint. You've got to remember that after a while, this baby wipe needs squeezing out because it's got very wet. And then your hand's all wet then. Right. I'll do them all. I'll do all of them. I'll do all of them and then in the same manner. And then they'll all be the same. So this is part 2 of this page. So because I am working in the watercolour effect way, it's taking slightly longer. So it was an hour to do the leaves. I would think these are going to take about an hour as well. But it's still faster than, it's still quite a nice, it's fast and yet you're not rushing it. That makes sense. Just want to gently tease that colour out. Hi Carol, welcome to Bunny's Designs. So again, I'm just teasing that colour across. And that's actually quite a pale colour. But if I don't like it, I can go over it. What you can't do is take it backwards. So it's always a good idea. Whoopsie, sorry. It's always a good idea. And you've got to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, it won't work. But again, still no pressure on your hands. It's all in that brush. And that's why the long riggers work. Again, it's all the pressure is in that bendy brush. There's nothing on your hands whatsoever. So they are quite pale those, but I'm hoping the next ones will be. I'm just going to move this down here so I can get to it a bit better because I don't like crossing myself. How are we doing for time? So sometimes you can get the highlight and sometimes you can't, but I would have been better probably doing a photocopy and having a bit of a play first, because then you can get used to the petals. A bit like I did with the chameleon pens. Oops. So sometimes it's quite nice. These are very vibrant colours, these hydras. But by using them this way, you can get some beautiful pale colours. So they're probably going to be better than buying a traditional watercolour, because these are professional. Because the other ones, you can have the vibrancy and you can have the pale, but you can't have that really, really intense colour that you get from the hydras. Where this way you can have both pales and then really dark, vivid colours. So I'm going to do the next bit a bit different, I think. I think I'm going to go in here. Again, you see this is exactly the same colour. It's exactly the same colour. So now we do, if we do 2 and then pull out that colour, that works quite well. I think I'm just going to do 1. And I can do this continuously, this one. And that worked quite well. So I've got twice as much colour, and I'm just going to tease that out. And that's given me quite a nice natural highlight. And everything's easy to get to, everything's within easy reach, because you don't want to be stretching too much. Well, I don't want to be stretching too much. And you can work on a little cushion tray, and there's no big pots and things on your knee. So this way I've got the same pink or red, but I'm using it very pale. And again, you're just in your own little world. And because those pinks are the same, it kind of works because they all match. So we want a centre. I might leave them white. I haven't decided yet. I don't know what colours they are. I can't remember now what colour the centre ones are. So I'm using the same colour, but I'm using twice as much this time. So I've got at least a deepish red in there, and then tease that out. So we're almost back to watercolouring again now. Damp brush and some nice deep colour. Oh, thank you, Scooby, thank you. So I hope everybody's well and getting ready for the Crimbles. It does make you feel rather Christmassy when you're doing this one, I have to say. And sometimes you get a little bit darker and sometimes you're a bit paler, so again that gives you a little bit of difference in each petal, so that's sometimes quite nice. Oops. Not quite comfortable yet, I haven't got comfy yet. teasing this colour in here. And they seem to go a long way, these colours as well. Got a cable wrapped around my foot now. I have to remember to keep fidgeting. I quite like those colours actually. I don't know if I meant to do them this pale, but again, I quite like that idea that you've got these paints which are so versatile. You can do extremely vibrant colours, or you can do the palest of pale colours. And you're using exactly the same palette, you're just using a different brush, a different amount of water, but the same palette, exactly the same palette. And I quite like that. It's probably a little bit wetter than I'd like, but again, this paper can take this. It's quite good. It's very well behaved. But the secret is turning your page so it's comfortable for you. I am a big believer in that. And I'm just touching the end a little bit to get this colour on here. So it's twice as, it's got 2 dabs of colour on the end of the wet brush instead of 1. But you could do that a lot different. It's not really the watercolour way because the brush is a bit too wet. It's working slightly, a little bit. It's a little bit deeper in there than it is on the outside, but I haven't got those beautiful highlights that I did on there. But then sometimes you don't want that. And the thing with the poinsettias is their leaves are not shiny like that. They're very dull, I think, if I remember rightly. So now I've got like 2 or 3 dabs of this same colour to make the centres that little bit richer. But it's all the same. It's all the same. I might just put some more in that one. It's nice to have a real rich centre. And that's made a bit of a contrast. So we've got the little robin. And the outside of the green leaves, which I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. And I've got the ribbon to do. And there's a little robin, so I think we'll do the little robin, but I'm going to use a tiny brush for that. Going back to my 10-0 for that one. If anybody's got any comments. I'd like to have just taken the colour off that very, very carefully. I might just see what this looks like. I just don't like stark white, but I think they are stark white actually. So we want a bit of a red breast for a robin, which is going to be here, I think. And again, I'm just going to put a little touch of this here, and then rinse the brush out and go in for the brown. And if you haven't got a drip on the end of there, just tease that colour in. And then he's got his little head. which wants to be brown. And then hopefully there's enough liquid in there to just tease all that out. So we have a little robin sat there now. And he needs a bright yellow beak, which is just the tiniest thing there. So there's a branch there. So I'm going to do that brown. Or shall I do that yellow ochre? Oops, my brush is twisted loose. So just tease that colour. And there. So that's done. Now I've got to do I don't know if I like those white circles, but I think I do. And I might do them stickles. I've got to finish off this holly green, so I'll just have a bit of a play with this. Yeah, I think I'm going to use this. But I want to do a bit of a highlight effect, I think. And if I do one side and then the other, and then tease that colour down here, it's going to get paler and paler till it goes to nothing. I quite like that. So I'll pick another one. And start quite dark. Tease the colour around. And this is getting a little bit of a natural highlight. It's getting very pale as it's going along. So you've just got that subtle difference between there and there. And I quite like that. So we're going to start quite dark, go down there, go down that side. And if we don't, as long as we don't stop too long, we're not going to have any nasty lines. And some dogs are having some big barks today. So let's finish that little section there. Tease that round. There's a holly in the middle there. And again, a really nice, peaceful way of working that is without dogs barking. But it's a peaceful way to work. So again, I've got some dark here. And this is a 10-0 liner. But I would almost say, I'm just going to have to go in there with a bit of dark. I must always say it's what I would call a fine rigger. Again, I'm just a touch short for that one, but that's okay. And then I've got this one to do next. So I hope everybody's following and colouring in and enjoying their afternoon. or morning, depending on what time we are in the planet. That's a bit pale, is that one? So I'm just going to go in again. Get just a little bit more on there, because I do like that dark contrast. Oh, gee whiz. Not doing very well at all. This might be too dark now, but never mind. Again, that's why sometimes it's a bit of a good idea to do a photocopy of the page. In every book you do, not every page, but every book. If you did every page, it would take you twice as long, but your end results would be the most fantastic colour book. So again, I want some dark here. And again, there's absolutely no pressure on my hands, which is quite good for me today. And there's another one there. So you'll have to forgive me, sometimes it's a bit difficult for me to remember what I'm doing. And the fact that I forget to talk, because this is so chilling out. This is what I would say is the perfect colouring in. You don't hurt your hands, there's no mess, you don't waste any paint, you're not constantly sharpening points. I mean, even with sharp points, this would be difficult to do, but this pen, you'd have to sharpen your pencil every minute. And that breaks my heart. If I turn that slowly down, I actually quite like that. It's really different. And again, that's something that I love about colouring in. That you can start off thinking you're going to do something very vibrant and end up with something quite different. But there are some nice subtle highlights effects in there. So I think I like this colour for the ivy this time out here, I think. So again, I'm going to use the 10-0 to get a nice highlight effect on that. So if anybody's got any questions. And I'm going to start probably here and turn that slowly the other way so I can get these highlights. And I'm going to use, which one did I use for that one? I think I used this. I don't know if I was going to have enough for this one. Decisions. I think I'm going to go with this one. I think I like this one. Let's see. Oh, I can't change it now, can I? No. I'm going to use the same green. Can't change on the same page. Don't think it would work. So I'm just teasing colour in here. And again, I've got to turn that the other way so that it's comfortable for me. So I just want to stroke that colour in there. And I think I might do these slightly different. might do these very slightly different. So we've got dark in here. And then we'll pull that colour out. So we get a natural highlight. And so we want this colour teasing in here and then drawing out right across there to give a natural highlight. And you can tell straight away with the first strokes how easy it's going to be and how wet that brush is and if it's going to work. And sometimes you get away with it. So a little tiny, oops, sorry, tiny highlight on that one. So these are different coloured leaves. So I've got a different leaf colour there. So again, I could take a damp brush. I think there's too much colour on this one. I do this one. No, this one's wasn't big enough, and the brush isn't getting as damp. I don't know why. So I did go over a little bit, but there's a little bit of a highlight on that one. So if anybody's got any questions, pop them in caps and then I can spot them. Oh, thank you, Suzanne, thank you. Again, completely different again. Didn't set out to do them, I set out to do them vibrant colours. But I love that this palette can do so much. And there's the series 1, which I think was £60, £58. But actually have I used all the colours? You can probably get away with 6 colours, buying just 6 colours. And you can still, because you're putting drops in, I made all those 3 yellows. But that's why you can make them go that little bit farther. So I shall do, if I work this way, I've got another little green one there, look. Because I don't want to be swapping leaves, it drives me potty. And sometimes it doesn't always work, and you're bound to make mistakes. So I need a bigger brush for this one. So I go with the number 3. But it is only damp. And then I want this green. So I'm not holding out much hope for a highlight on this one. It's a bit wet. And I've got a lot of colour on here. But it is a bigger space. If I can tease some of that liquid down. We can get a natural highlight. And that's the trick, is changing the brush. But once you've done a photocopy of this, you will know which brush, how much paint to put on, and how little paint to put on, and that makes all the difference. It does, that makes all the difference. And you're going to get that with practice. Whoops. See, I didn't get that brush damp enough. I don't know why. I'm just going to go back in there with a damp brush and see if I can pick that up. And I think I'm going to do these differently as well. I think I'm going to do this one differently. That one. I think I'm going to do these kind of crossways. Just missed that bit there. Sometimes you can just get away with it. So again, I want some nice deep colour into there. And then, I don't know why this brush is not getting very damp. Because when you start scrubbing with your paintbrush, that's when it flicks and it goes over the line. So I'm turning the page round. And I've got one more to do here. That's a little bit better. So again, I get a really nice natural highlight. And the I'll go for the number 1 brush and just a touch and tease that colour in. I thought that was a dog. I thought my daughter had gone upstairs. I'm just going to tease that a bit more because I don't. So it's quite a bit of a highlight on that one. And this one should have a bit of a highlight on as well. This is a lot wetter brush, you can tell instantly it's a lot wetter. Just about got away with it, but you can only do that on this paper. You wouldn't get away with that on any other paper. So while I've got, oh sorry about that, while I've got, oh, they're upside, sorry about this, they're upside down. So when they're upside down, it's difficult to do because I'm working dark to light. So again, I've got a damp brush and I've got that green. Samantha, darling, would you make me a drink? My cup's here, thank you. I just want to finish this page. You feeling any better? Yeah, wish you told me last night that. I'm streaming live, yeah. Yeah, my daughter was violently ill last night. And it wasn't until this morning that she said she had horrendous pains in her stomach. I said, well, I just thought she'd got a bit of sickness, but to not tell me that was a bit silly. Never mind. That's a nice highlight. Oh, don't mention making cookies. Samantha's your girl. If you're making cookies, she'll be over there. Oh, Scooby Girl says she's got the mixer on the counter making cookies. Are you reading the biscuit tin? But that's good. At least you've eaten something. So she said she hopes you feel better soon, Sam. My cup's here, darling, if you're going to make me one. That's brilliant, thank you. Oopsie, I'm just damaging this page a bit. Got to be a bit careful. So I quite like these colours, actually. They're growing on me. They're growing on me. Thank you, darling.
It's a bit strong.
It'll be fine. Thank you, darling. You're going to take little Tara in the other room? Bless her. Well, we kept her off school. Well, she didn't finish being poorly till about 3 this morning, so she was completely done in this morning. And she was desperate to go to college, but I wondered if she'd spread it around, so we said it was best not to go. But my girls never complain, bless them. Because thinking about it, you're always wiser after the event. I wondered why she wouldn't go to, she wouldn't kind of leave me, and I wondered why. And of course, she'd said she was in a lot of pain, but she didn't even tell me this. This is my girls for you. They don't complain and whinge all the time. Whereas I know a lot of people said, "Oh, girls, they whinge." Well, my girls don't whinge. But they don't tell you anything until after the event. Oh, well, so-and-so, so-and-so. Oh, thanks for telling me that now. Put that there. Oh, thank you. It's again, I didn't expect this. I wanted to do it these bright, vibrant. I know what I haven't done. I haven't swapped brushes. I'm on big brushes, look. It's a completely different brush, is this. I very quickly just get some of that off there. I've on a lot bigger brush than I was here. And it makes the difference. It makes the difference. I'm also on the wrong green as well. Yeah, I'm on the wrong green. I wonder what I was doing in that there. That's the wrong green. So I've made a mistake there, but I think I might just get away with it. It's very similar. It's very similar. But again, I think that's quite nice to do different things in different. Do that one like this. I need a drop of water. Again, sometimes you can save it, and then there's one there. I just love this really quiet way of working. It's just, oops, it's a bit wet, so I can just nip a bit of water out of there. And it is water because, of course, the colour is only at the tip. Yeah, that's not going to do well, but never mind. It's a big leaf. So I can just possibly. I can't do this with any other paper, but you can with this one. If you're very quick, you can go back in it. I've just got a highlight, so I got away with that one. But you know, it's if you don't concentrate on what you're doing, it's easy to make a mistake. So I think I'm going to go back to I think I'm going to use. I did use another. There's a number 2 there. I think I'm going to use this one. This is a number 20, and it is a series 55. Because I do want to get a little bit of a highlight on these. And this series 55 is as long as a rigger. But these are the Art Masters. So I think they're a bit cheap. I think they're about £2.50. Although I think the Daily Roundies were £2.50 as well. So managed to get a little highlight on that. But this brush will also just do these tiny little leaves here as we go around. And again, there's no pressure on my hand. If that was a felt pen or a pencil, I'd have to scrub down. It's all in this bendy brush. So there's, I mean, even this is hurting. I'm still able to do it, which is so important for me to be able to do this. So I do appreciate everybody that watches and listens and talks and joins live, because I would go out of my mind if I didn't do this. And I'm so appreciative that there are people that want to listen to my droning voice going on and on and on. But I literally would be out of my tiny mind. I think I'm going to do all these green leaves, and then I'm not going to make a mistake like I did before. So I'm going to go in here. And I think it's because I've used that green for holly before. And as I've got a bit of short-term memory loss, so I can't remember what I did yesterday. Well, I can actually. Because this silly judge was asking all these silly questions, and I felt like saying, there's no point asking me, I haven't got a clue. I can't remember what happened last week. And then certain things I can remember, like, I could remember at Christmas being handed a glass of wine and dropping it. And this is a girl that loves a wine, so to drop the glass was a big thing. So I've remembered that, but and he asked who walked the dogs, and it's like, yeah, okay, we don't walk dogs. But my husband put his hand up like, this is who walks the dogs, and my husband put his hand up, and like, we don't walk the dogs. They don't get walked, they're old. Right, I'm going to go back into that one. Samantha walks them occasionally. Amy used to walk them. It's like saying, but I didn't tell him that. I didn't say we don't walk the dogs. Nobody walks them. Yes, Scooby. Fibs are so much better than watching, TV. Yeah, if I had to watch daytime television, I would go out of my tiny tree, definitely. And I'm not concentrating on anything, that's the other thing. I mean, I'm a bit amazed that I've made 150 videos since June, I think I started. But this is all I do all day, and just sit here and do this. And that's all I do. So it's very therapeutic for me. And I so appreciate the fact that people want to actually watch how I colour and listen to my voice. This is a particular book, and the Colin Thompson one is as well, that when you start doing that, it's so therapeutic. You just get lost in little worlds. Oops, sorry. I'm just trying to get to this one here. Oh, sorry about this little one. There's a little one there that's being awkward. Oops. That was probably a bit too wet for there. So I can try and take that off a bit, just a bit. I think I've got enough to do maybe this one, because this is a wet brush. This is a fairly wet brush, this one. But it is a really calming, ow, sorry, peaceful way to work if your elbows don't crack. Again, that's quite a wet brush, but that is the biggest leaf, I think. So if you're very quick, not to wet it too much, you can tease that colour up there, not have a harsh line. And then I do like these little ones to be kind of new and bright. I'm going to there now, sorry about this. I'll do that one next. So welcome to Bunny's Designs. Oh, hi Carol, Whip Smart Carol. Anybody else popping in? Working in the Johanna Basford's Christmas colour book, and I'm using the Hydrus, and I expect it to be kind of quite vibrant, but it turned out that I decided that the paints just took their own direction and ended up being quite pale, almost pastel colours, I think we would say. And yet this is the one that I did, the very vibrant owl, same palette. So again, I really like that, because if you, sorry, you get a very vibrant palette, sometimes it's a bit difficult, but that's why I like my little book of colours, because you can work very, very dark, or you can work quite pale. You have a lot of control, and working with a damp brush, you have a lot of control as well. Again, it's just a funny angle, is this, because it's on a crease, and that's quite a damp brush, this one. It's a bigger brush, but in order for this not to dry out and leave that horrible line, you do sometimes need a bit of a damper brush. And I've got a little bit of a highlight on that one, not much. And then just tease a little bit of colour into these. And then we've got two more here. How are we doing for time? I might be able to finish this actually in this part, so that would be good. If I stay in frame. Oops. So once you start, you've got to kind of carry on a bit, because under all these lights as well, things to dry out quite nicely. So they're all finished, so I'm going to go and finish here with some hollies. So I need to go to a smaller brush. I think I'll go with a 2-0. I was using a 10-0, but this is the outline, and I think I used that one for the hollies. So again, I can tease that colour out, and as long as that damp brush keeps giving me that dampness out, I get quite a natural highlight. I'm going to go back to number 10-0, I think. Just want a bit more control over that. So we can get there, and then there's enough water to kind of really tease that out. It's got a really nice effect. So if anybody's got any questions, pop them in caps, because I keep looking up. But I want to get this finished, and I want part 2 on here, because this is a little bit quicker way of working. But you don't have to go back if you don't want to, it's done. Oops, I picked the wrong green up. So again, I quite like that effect. You know, it's dark here. There could be a bark alert because next door's dogs are barking. Again, really like those highlight effects. And no, I wouldn't be able to get those with a pencil, because I have all the pencils, but I would not be able to use them and go back into this. I mean, once is enough now. It's just not quite wet enough there. Sometimes you can get away with it, and sometimes you can't. And again, doing a practice page. Oops, I've done the wrong green again. I have to put something over the top of that green so I don't keep using it. I'm not picking up enough water at the moment. I don't know why. That was just, again, also I need to have a bit of kitchen roll about, just to soak up a little bit. I'm sorry about this, I'm just going to have to turn this round so I've got a nice comfortable position to I don't know what's happening. I think the baby wipe, I'm touching the dry bit, is taking too much water off. So you need a damp baby wipe really. So probably mine's dried out a little bit. But there's still a little bit of a highlight in there. And then just whisk that round. A little bit of colour. So again, a photocopy of this page would have made a big difference to how I would have done it, and I probably would have done it brighter colours as well. So but I say it's still a nice, fairly quick way of working. So I've got a holly tree here. Holly tree. Holly leaf. And again, that was a bit of a big leaf to kind of do all that work on its own, really. For that little paintbrush. I mean, this is a very tiny, tiny paintbrush. And it's not a rigger, this one. It's a liner. It's not quite as long as the others. So although it works perfectly for this, again, if you just keep going gently, you'll end up with Quite a nice little highlight there. Now this particular green that I've made has dried, so again that makes a difference between a dry hydrus and a wet one. I just need to turn that fairly quickly because I've got this on the paintbrush now. I'm just going to dip that in water and tease that colour out, I think. And again, just use a piece of kitchen roll just to soak up a bit if you have too much. I've got an awkward one there. So I'm just going to do the inside of this one. Just finish these few here, and then we've got another slab of warm tea. Then when I've done this, I'm going to do another couple of sections on the Colin Thompson colour book, and again that's another dry way of working. I'm sorry if I keep making everybody dizzy moving it about, but it's so much easier for me to just turn it, and you don't go out the lines quite as much as you would if you didn't, because you're just doing that quite natural. Quite natural movement of your wrist. So I've just got half a dozen holly berries to do. Oh, thanks Scooby, thank you for stopping in. Hope you have a pleasant afternoon or morning. Enjoy the rest of your day. I think Emma's on in a little while, isn't she? What time is it? Oopsie. Does anybody know what time Emma's on today? Is it normally 5? Is it 3 or 5? Depends how busy she is, I think. So my hubby's back at 5. Just going to put a little bit of water into that just to get that going again. Sometimes you can get away with it and sometimes you can't. But you get quite a nice little highlight if you can get away with it. I've got 2 little ones to go. Now is the time not to rush. Oops, that was a big drop of water that I put on there. I thought it would just do it. But it obviously was a little bit too wet. But if I leave that to dry, it's a nice highlight effect. This should be the last one, but I'm bound to have missed one. I always do. Yes, there's two on the top here. So again, just dark colour in and tease out. Sometimes by the end of the page, you've got quite good at it. You can tell at the beginning of the page where you've started, because that's quite a perfect one, that one. That's not so much, but the other one was quite nice, but it was a better angle actually. So I need some pale. I'll just, how are we doing for time? I'll just scoop out a bit and then you can see if I put the final things to it. That's our colours. Really unusual for me to do those colours, especially with the hydrous. You know, they've really, I'm just going to have a mouthful of tea. Whoops. Quite unusual colours for me. But I do like this ivory background, I have to say. Has anybody got any questions? I always feel this is a much of a muchness, if that's the proper word. Slightly different way of working in the middle. But you can use the riggers for all sorts of things. Whereas if you have a normal round brush, it doesn't matter how small the brush is. As soon as you touch the end, all that water floods down. And that's why it won't work. I don't need that red now. And that's why it won't work with ordinary brushes, because you just have not got that control over the damp. But I think that's quite pretty colours. I can't decide what colour to do that. I might do that purple. I was going to do it a yellow. Or I probably could do it a Christmassy red. Yes, I might do it red, because then it's just reds and greens. I could actually do it the red of this and it would match. Yes, I think I'll do that. Excuse me slurping. I could do stickles in between here and that would look quite nice. It would look like a sparkly bauble with the flat things on them. That might look nice. I just got the mistletoe leaves and the top of, I think I might do that. I don't know what colour to do that. I'll probably do it this colour green. I don't really want to introduce any other colours in there now. I think I quite like those. So excuse me having a drink. I just, there comes a point where you know you're going to start coughing. I'll just carry on and finish, because if it's an hour and 8 minutes, whereas if I'm going any further. Hello Bookworm, welcome to Bonnie's Designs. I hope everybody's busy and happy and well. Ow, sorry, it's quite nice holding that warm. So I'm going to do that, the pale colour I think, and the red bow and the green. So I'm going to use, and I've got some olive. I use the olive colour. I think I used the olive colour, so that we just get rid of that water and get some clean. It wasn't particularly dirty, but I picked up the wrong green a couple of times. And I can't find, oh that's it there. I used the wrong green for the holly, and you can tell there, but we might get away with it. So I'm going to zoom back in again and just want to do that on 1 rather than on 3. Oh. Oops. So should I do that bit there? Didn't make any difference really. Right. So I'm going to zoom back in without making anybody thick. And I'm going to do this one first, and I want some little highlights, so I'm using this little tiny brush. I think I used the olive, but just bear with me a second. Let's see what colour I used. No, I didn't use the olive. Did I not use the olive? Oh, I wonder what colour I used there then. How strange. Is it this one that I used then? No, it's not that one. For goodness sake, missus. Oh, I'm losing my marbles. It must be the holly colour then. It must be this colour. Well, I don't know. How silly. That's the only one I can think of. Is this one that's pale? Nope. It's that one. I can't believe I've lost that one. I cannot believe I couldn't find the colour. So we want a touch of this to tease out. And just a touch. Oops. And I'm going to leave the stalks, I think. So I'm going to go around, and then we've got some more here. Yeah, I'm going to do these, I think, because these are at a better angle than those. So I hope I'm in frame. I think I am. So tease that up there. And tease that one. And I might even get another one up here. And then we found a leaf of that other one there, but we can do that another time. So again, tease that colour up there. Tease that through there. And I've missed this leaf. Oops, that's the wrong leaf. Oh, dear me. So for some reason I've lost a green. Not sure how I've managed that, but I've lost a green. I love these colours. I love these watercolours. They're really nice to work with. They're very nice to work with. thought that was this green. How strange. Strange. So we've got some more mistletoe. Some nice pale mistletoe there. Tease that colour into there. I'm trying to get this finished in part 2 so we can crack on with the Colin Thompson colour book. I think I'm going to do that one, this colour. I think I'll use this colour. Since I have that particular this particular brush out, which is good, and I also have this particular green. Means I can tease some colour out of there quite nicely. And then I just need to put some green in here. And I've missed a mistletoe leaf. Got to be a bit careful because I'm not at the right angle again, so that's not really that good. Just come up to this bit here. I've got all the stems to join up now. So they look all connected. So thanks for stopping by, everybody, and I do hope you're all getting on with your colour books. I think I've decided I want to finish this one because obviously it's not going to be Christmas season, and probably the new year is going to bring lots of new colour books. I might not be using them, I don't think, in the new year. I'll have to see what happens. So I want to try and get them done as much as possible. So I shall be doing art in the Abbey, hopefully. Just going to turn this round very carefully, just so I can get the nice angle on this one. Tease out that nice watercolour effect. And then just use that green to kind of join everything up. And then make sure we haven't missed any small leaves along the way. So we've got a quite nice effect going on. And I think that lends itself quite nicely to I think that lends itself quite nicely to the ivory backgrounds, because of this method you couldn't really do backgrounds in this way without getting too wet. Ow, sorry, my little finger's hurting. I think we've almost done. What did I say I was going to do with that red now? So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use this brush. So it's a damp brush with some red on it. So I'm going to start here. And then I'm just going to tease that colour across. I want it to get paler and paler and paler. And then I'm going to turn it over slightly, and I'm going to try something that I haven't done before. My 10-0 little brush, my little liner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go the opposite way. So I've got a dark there, oops, a dark there, and light. But obviously this is a bow. So I want this to be dark. And then I want this to go up here. So there's a bit of a darker side at either side, and then this I'm going to do here as well. If you just take this down here, oh, for goodness sake, get some paint on the brush. It's because I'm rushing. You never get anything with your rushing. So that looks like it's a little shadow. And that's the true colour of the same colour but paler. It's all the same red. So the bow has got to be, again, just a touch. So we can have a highlight. I don't think I've done just a touch, have I? No. Nope. So we're going to go that way. And I might do this in stages, actually, I think. So we'll have this one here. So that's quite a pale. And then we want some coming down here. Oops. If we're very lucky, we might be able to just tease a little bit of colour on there. Oops, I wasn't in right frame, I do apologise. Do the other side. I've got some colour on here. So I'm going to take that up there. think I might have to put a bit of colour on the other ones as well, so that one comes down here. Sorry about this, I have to turn it very quickly because it will dry. Because I've got that damp brush, so if I start again at the bottom, maybe a bigger brush would have been slightly better, but I like my 10-0. Just a drop of water, just to tease that through a bit more. I think possibly could have had a bit bigger brush, but it's too late now. It won't look right if I do it odd again. So again, if I'd have done a photocopy of practice, I would have worked that out. So I should practice what I preach. Just want a smidgen more water, just to tease a little bit of pale pink out of there. And I can't remember what colour I said I was going to do this. Very pale yellow, was I? Green. Used to be a little bit bigger. Bye, book. Thank you for stopping in. Have a great day. Thank you for stopping by. I think I might just. It's gonna have to be a yellow. I think it's gonna have to be a yellow. To see if we can get a highlight going. Got a rogue hair there. Not happy with that. And just tease that down here. So by the time it gets down here, it should be quite pale, I think. Just turn that over there. We'll have going down there. Going down there. Sometimes you can't scrub with a wriggle, you've got to be a little bit careful, but sometimes you can. I've got a fairly pale. I think I'm going to use that one. I've just got that little bit more control over the colour. So again, tease that colour down there. I think we've just got a little bit of a highlight on that. So I'm just going to tease that colour down there. So that's just put a little bit of colour on there. And I was going to colour the middles in, but actually I've just realised something. I don't think I will. So I think I've finished. So that particular bit. Hi Judy, welcome to Bunny's Designs. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit and so you can have a look at the colours. And she's finished. I quite fancy putting stickles, but I had a bit of a disaster with them yesterday. I like stickles in the centre, but I wanted to put stickles on the background so that was flat and the stickles were behind, but I don't know if that's going to work. So sometimes like the background's a frosting, like a frosty, a bit like a frosty, a white frosty bauble, and then you have matte kind of velvety things on top. Does that make sense? It's quite an old-fashioned baubles, but it's how I remember them as a child. I think they're coming back now, the snowy white ones. So it look like this. So I'm going to try. Oh, I have a trouble nipping things, so you'll have to forgive me. Hands in the way. So we need to go around a little bird and this is quite it's quite difficult, but I can't nip. I can't nip this. So it's like the right hand's trying to do what the left brain's. This is not easy. And it's quite funny because the right hand is now hurting the left hand because it's nipping the left hand. Oops, need some stickles in that bit. Right, okay. Didn't get any stickles out of there then. So I went round there for nothing. Come on, keep nipping. You shall have to buy some more stickles. So let's see if we can tease these out, and then this one's finished then. I think I'll leave. Sorry, it's just my left hand is being tortured. What did somebody say about art being painful? Just see if we can get a little bit more on here. I never thought actually it's going to take quite a lot, this. Whoopsie. This is not easy. Whoopsie. Yes, this reminds me of the white frosty baubles with all those little centres, and I broke every one of my mum's. I've only got one or two left now. Because when I was a child, I used to like to stick my fingers in the middle of them and break them. Must have been a horrible child. How my mother kept her hands off me, I don't know. Right, this is taking quite a time, but hopefully when I've finished, it'll look like the old-fashioned sparklies. I don't want to stop because if I stop, I won't start again. Yeah, we need a bit more stickles on there. Got to see where I've been. Oopsie. I even managed to put some sparkles on the Colin Thompson one as well. Right, here we go. Wow. Keep going, Heather, you can't swear on the thing. Right, we've nearly finished now, hopefully. Some sparkles on that bit there. Mind you, knowing the glue in the 1960s and 70s, or even my parents were married in 42, I would think the glue wouldn't be that good anyway, so the stickles used to fall off. So we've got a stickly bauble. Oh. Can everybody see that? Does that look okay? There's a few gaps actually. Oopsie. You can see. I was trying not to put too much on because I didn't want to be blobby, but I think I've scratched a lot off by not doing that. I can always get my daughter to go over it, can't I? Make it almost. I want it sparkly where the robin is, don't we? So hopefully I'm nearly finished. Put the lid on the stickles. Oopsie. So that is Dr. Martin's Hydrus watercolours. There's a van, my new thing. And Johanna's baubles. Actually, if I leave that like that, I'm not tempted to shut it because I rubbed it off yesterday. Whoopsie. So there's a stickle. Yep, that's for me. Bear with me 2 seconds if I can get up. So thank you for watching, and that's the end of part 2. I'll be back, guys.